Alrighty, another live stream. We'll see how well the audio sync is. So I did a lot of testing off camera, and I did a lot of private live streams, short ones like 1 or 2 minutes, just to try to get this audio situation fixed out. And I hope it works. So anyway, going on from here, of course, last week I fixed that RoyPow battery, welded in some brand new cells in there, supposedly new. Who really knows? Don't know the quality of them. But I know Insidious Dixies was curious to see how well the amp hours was holding out on this. And this thing's about a year old since I bought it, maybe a little bit more, and it took that big hit of the cells melting down and stuff like that. So this was the carnage from that little incident. And of course I replaced the cells of questionable quality. You know, they were fairly cheap. You know, I think they were under $15, something like that. They're supposedly 6 amp hours, but I don't really know. Never did a baseline on them, never tested them, so I just sort of took it for granted that they are what they are. I did a complete amp hour test on this thing, and this thing's supposed to be a 30 amp hour, and it's only coming in of about 10. So not really that great on, you know, the amp hour setting for that, but I never did a baseline on it when I first got it, and I should have, but I never did. I should do a baseline on the 50 amp hour battery and see how well that's doing, if it's anywhere near. But this is one of them things, you know, from the Amazon jungle site. So who really knows the quality of it to begin with? And like I said, I never did a baseline on it. I just says, you know, it is what it is, and coming in only at 10 amp hours. So, you know, if I wanted it as a long haul battery, it's not going to do it. But we're going to retire it because we replaced it with the 50 amp hour. So this battery right now will be kind of like a temporary power source for something, either my water change pump, or we'll dedicate it also to the battery welder when we're done screwing with this. So last week when I was welding in the new cells to that battery, these battery connections were getting stupid hot. They were well over 150 degrees. I tested them with the infrared heat gun thermometer thing there. So I know I was drawing way too much power for these little Andersons and stuff like that. They're only rated for so many amps, and then after that it's too much for them. So these are supposedly 10 gauge. So that is about the maximum size that these particular Andersons can take. I don't remember what size these are. They're like the smallest Andersons you can get, but definitely would need a lot heavier gauge Andersons to carry the current that this thing was drawing. And of course these cables were getting really hot, and the connections were getting really hot. So kind of questionable quality of the wire here. So it's silicone jacket and supposedly 10 gauge wire, and they're from the base of it. It could be tin copper. I really don't know. It could be aluminum for all I know. It's from China, so who really knows? So went on the jungle site, and I got some more wire as an 8 gauge, because I plan on making these wires a lot longer, because this is kind of short. When you're working on things, it's kind of annoying to have this tipping over and stuff like that. I gotta mount this on a piece of wood or something like that, or maybe I'll do something after when I'm done putting this heavier wire on. So I got 8 gauge. That should carry more than an ample amount of current, even at, I want to say, double the length of the wires that I got on now. So we're going to take this apart. Of course, this one came in a kit, so all this plastic has to come off, and you had to put that all on yourself. and stuff like that. And we're going to see if I can decrimp the probes or the welding tips and stuff like that. And I should be able to shove the new wire in there. If not, I'll just chop the wire and then solder the 8 to the 10. And being that such a short distance, it shouldn't really have that much of an impact of the operation of the thing. So we're going to start working on this. We'll take the sheeting off of these probes, and then we'll start disassembling it and give it a little test and see what happens from there. So let's get started. There, that's better. So on the jungle site, I got the supposedly copper 8-gauge lugs. So this is a 3/8. So it's got the 5/16 inch 5/16 ring, and I got the same thing 8-gauge and a 1/4 inch ring. So that should take care of both connections of that. And of course, you can either crimp these things or you can solder them. I prefer to solder them. I think you get a lot better, at least a lot less loss connections. So we got some little bits of hardware here. These are little plastic acorn nuts, and of course all the screws will fall out and stuff like that. And we got to find a little container so this stuff doesn't roll around. So we'll just use this battery contraption here to capture all the standoffs and bolts so they don't roll on the floor, because they will, especially in this establishment, because nothing is level or plumb. So that takes care of all that little doodads, and we'll have to put all this back together and line it all up at the same time, which was real fun to begin with, and it'll be fun to do it again. That takes care of all the little jiggly bits. So now I gotta undo these lugs. Don't know the size, so we'll just play guess a nut. And that's too small. First time, first try, so that's good. Take all that stuff off. Of course, on this particular contraption, the positive side is controlled, and the ground side slash negative is a pass through, because I can see the trace in there, and it's pretty thick and pretty robust. So that should carry enough enough current, especially it's such short distance. So take these off. Because when I was using this thing, even the wire was getting stupid hot. Being that this is a relay, it doesn't jump around, and it's unsecured, so. So that takes care of that hardware. And this is all crimped, so, you know, who really knows how well of a connection that is really given. It looks like a decent crimp. And it looks like it's tin copper, because I do see some copper color, so it's not 100% fake wire, because you really never know with China. This thing, believe this thing came from Alice 1010 in 1983. Because I get a lot of little gadgets like that from her. So we'll start peeling back this heat shrink on these probes. We'll use a nice surgical scalpel because we're doing precision work here. So at least it's not the adhesive kind. So it'll be easy to peel this off. And that's just crimped too, so hopefully I can decrimp it. Maybe not, probably not. Might have to see how deep that goes. I might have to slice it. So, we'll see what happens when I try to decrimp it. Probably won't work. Yeah, it's pretty stout. Yeah, that's a good crimp. They're not gonna very easily come undone with that. Of course, when I slice the jacket off, I slice the wire too. So we'll see what happens if we try to cut that off. So I'll have to get the Dremel out. Hopefully I got a cutting wheel in here. What's on the Dremel now? Anything? Nothing. I used to have a bit on there. Broke off. Now the challenge is, where did I put the extra bits? Cutting wheels. Ah, here they are. Typical ones that are the brittle kind. Where you go through 100 of them. Definitely a good crimp. So heavy material. Definitely will never get 8-gauge wire through that little hole. So that salvages the probes, or welding tips. Of course, now the next challenge will be to get wire back in there. I might have to do the naughty thing and cut some strands off. But that's fine. We'll figure something out. Now we can take all this and say goodbye. You too. So now it's let's see what we can do to get some wire back in them things. Of course, we're not going to crimp it, we're going to solder them. Get our wire out. So we're going to take our wire here and we're going to basically double the length of them. I think that will be a good compromise of length. So here is our probe. We'll take that and then we'll double it. Something like that. That'll be for our probe. And I think everything is pretty much the same length. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much the same length. So we got a set of red. I don't need a set of black. Got plenty of extra wire for extra projects. Do something interesting. These particular cutters are designed for cutting cable like this, which is one reason I bought them. Just for situations like this where you can use a pair of wire cutters on theirs, but it doesn't make a very nice cut. Where that keeps the from squishing it. So I really like these shears, electrician shears. So the next challenge is to strip that. Let's see, what's the biggest? There we go. Old school cutters here, so we'll use the 10 and kind of just carefully go around it. So that is probably definitely not going to go in that hole. I probably could make it if I ream the hole out. Need something to ream the hole. Being that it's copper. We can make something work to ream that out. Even a screwdriver bit. Ream that out a little bit more. I might be able to get that in there. We need something a little bit better than pliers to hold that. So we're going to get out the little desktop bunch vise. It's something a little bit more secure than that. So we'll just stick this to this. First, it's off camera, so you won't be able to see it. Oh, well. Let's see if I can make it a little wider. Nope, goes the wrong way. I would have to move the camera. I'm not going to move the camera. You just have to take it for granted that I'm doing something constructive. Guess I can move it a little bit. Have it all messed up. I still can't really see it what I'm doing, but that's okay. Okay, so now I should be able to ram that wire in there. Oh yeah. That's gonna be nice. That's gonna work out very well. There we go. I'm gonna leave a little bit of a gap so I can solder that. Which you still can't see, but that's fine. Not really much I can do. Yeah, actually I can. I can move this over to the other device. So we got that one. We'll move this one over here out of the way. Take these off. So I'm gonna use a torch to solder these. But that's the only way to do it on this particular kind. Because I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna crimp it. So we're gonna get some solder out. And we're gonna solder by fire. So I'm gonna use my little portasol, little jet torch. Which will probably end up melting them things on top. Oh yeah. There's our first probe done. Gonna be hot. Get that out of the way and cool. Now we'll do the same thing on the other probe. First we'll ream the hole out. That one don't have enough holding power. Bring it on this camera. There you go, and now you can see. Oh, now you're broken. Come on. There. Stubborn thing. I can put my camera back. There we go. Out of level. Now we're our wire back. That's a nice secure connection. Let that cool. That's very hot. Now we'll do some of our lugs. So the black cable got the smaller of the lugs, 1/4 inch. Get 2 pieces of heat shrink out. Here's the lug. We'll make sure that goes through the bolt. And it does. So one of them, we need another one. And we'll work on our black. And take them off. Make it a little easier to navigate here. Okay. So same thing here. We'll solder by fire. So a very nice connection that will never fail, never corrode. We'll put some heat shrink around that. Okay, that's that side. For the negative of the battery side. We'll put that off to the side to cool. Now we'll do the same thing for our probe. So here's our probe. And we'll get some heat shrink to cover that. And I need a long piece. Let's see, is this big enough? Yep. We'll use 2 of them. So we're going to cover the most of the probe too, just like what how it first come. So we'll cover the probe. We're out of gas. Okay, now for the lug. For this side, it doesn't matter if I don't put the heat shrink on, because I can slip it over to the probe side. There. We got our probe all done. Finished cable. So that'll be ready to go back on the relay. Now to do the same thing to our positive side. I think these probes are replaceable, I believe. I think they just screw in. Or do you pull out? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Plenty of life on the end of them things. For what little bit I do with them. Now the positive takes the bigger lug. Make sure that that goes over. And it does. Perfect. Down the way. Get that in the holder. That one. Probe side. So what we got to do now is the battery side. Okay. That's that for the relay side. So now the next thing is to make the ends for the battery. So let's see what kind of screw we got here. I think it's pretty small. Yeah, it's pretty small. That's a pretty small screw, so we'll use the smaller ones. 1/4 inch. Black one. And a red one. Yep. Okay. That's them. So we'll make these cables up for the battery. One done. Now we'll do the last one, and then we'll hook everything back up. I should trip the wire first. So the art of this is when you fill that void there with solder and you start inserting the wire, you don't just want to smash it in there because you'll have the solder roll right out and all over the connector. So you got to have the go in slow and let the heat start transferring to the wire, and then it'll start absorbing the solder, and you can push it in deeper, and You can see the solder actually starting to come up higher in the connector, and then you just go by that. And you can see it starting to pull into the wire, and then you just keep pushing slowly until you stop, really. So there's all of our connections. So now we can start putting this back together. Start getting some of this stuff out of the way. Move this out of the way. And then we'll bring our relay back in and start hooking up the wires. So really not enough room to have that lock washer on, so it's only going to be on by a couple of threads, which really doesn't impress me much. So since it's not really a high vibration scenario here, you just need the nuts. Okay, that's that side. Now for these little guys, make sure them are tight, because you definitely don't want to have a loose connection, because it's definitely high current going through this little contraption. There, that's all back together, and I got nice long cables now. A lot more working area, so that's a good thing. So now the next thing is to put all these plastic bits on. That's going to be fun. I'm going to move these things on the inside, partially blocking the hole. Now we can put this cover back on. So there's a screw, screw to plate, screw a spacer, screw to PCB, another spacer, then the top plate. Get the knob out of the way. Now we got a couple of little threads. To hold the air core nut on. We'll just screw that on a little bit. And do this 3 more times. That has to be moved some more. Full custom mode. So there, all back together. Put our little knob back on. Now the final thing is to do our little test. We'll hook it up to the battery. And need a regular screwdriver. And all kinds of little bits flying around. I don't have any. Oh well. 8mm work? No. What a 10? 10 work? No. 11 does. So we got power because we got our little LED on. We'll crank it up to about 140 because that's what I had it the last time. And let's zap something. We'll zap this old battery. I got plenty of wire now. And that one didn't like it. This battery didn't like all that current going out. So it definitely went into protection mode. So we'll have to have something else to use this. So, since that didn't work, I won't be able to use this battery for welding. That's too bad. So this will be dumbed down to just running a pump. Probably if I had the other battery, it would definitely work. Got a lot higher current rating. We'll use something completely ridiculous and hook it up to the pinch power supply. Knock everything over. Hook that up. And turn power on. Hey, now we'll try it again. Definitely need a piece of wood for this. Oh yeah. Well, that will definitely work. I just need adequate power to run this sucker now. So that was a successful little playtime here. Of course, nobody's watching because there ain't nobody on the chat. Oh well. Nobody watches the channel. But at least I have a lot better apparatus now for battery welding. I just need to come up with a better battery. So that is cool, and I got a lot. Once I get this mounted on a on something, then I got a lot more working distance. So that'll work. So not much else to go over in this particular live stream. It's been an hour and 16 minutes already. Wow. So probably later today, if anybody watches this, maybe about around 2:30, 3:15, I'm going to have a little live stream of wash day washing. We're going to do a live stream washing. So there, we'll do the some bed linens on the Speed Queen TC5 or TC 5000, depending on how you like to pronounce the official name of it. And the TC5 is it's just a matter of literally about 5 months away from being 5 years old. Yes, I've already had the Speed Queen TC5 for almost 5 years now. We're counting down the months to the official real washer of the household. So we'll have that little live stream if anybody wants to watch it or anything like that. Probably not. Even the washer twerps are not interested in a real wash machine. They like that crap where HE machines where they run for 2-3 hours and have constant load balancing issues and thumping and very poor wash action. They don't like the official wash action of old school machinery that has been tried, true, and proven to wash your clothes with water. You know, a full tub. So, you know, whatever that tub is, what, 2.5, 3 feet deep or whatever, where it actually fills it up and does a decent job and actually washes your clothes and gets the dirt out and the smell and the must. And you don't need fancy detergents or fabric refreshers or scent boosters and all that other crap, because when you got a real machine, you know, you get all that crap out of your clothes. So when it goes into your dryer that runs for 6 hours to dry it, because that's also an HE piece of crap, all you're left with is a musty smell. So that's it for this live stream. We'll see you on the in a few hours on the next one, and take care, and we'll see you later.